just one final NWO question. At the end of '98, they did that NWO Wolfpac reunion storyline.
Right.
But then with Hogan getting injured and Scott Hall needing time off and Lex Luger being, I think he got injured too. What actually was the plans for the NWO reunion storyline down the line?
You know, there weren't any real long-term plans. The idea, again, we wanted to build. Look, the NWO, we had enough members in the NWO to have two factions, just to give us some diversity in storytelling, to give us something new to work with. You can't keep telling the same story over and over and over again every week, especially with wrestling that's on 52 weeks a year. It's not like a traditional television series that's on for 8 or 10 episodes, and then they get 6 months off and they come back with 8 or 10 more. You know, we had no downtime. You're telling your stories 52 weeks a year, and you have to change it up. So the idea was to, build the NWO up big enough, and then some of the same principles that drive people to battle. Usually it's greed. Almost always it's greed in one way, shape, or form, whether it's in politics or anything else in business. Working with somebody. When you have a conflict with somebody, it's usually because when it gets down to it, it's about greed, or jealousy. That's another big one. So we thought, okay, why don't we, once we get it built up, we'll let greed for power and control kind of fracture the NWO so that we can have some internal conflict within our singular group in the NWO. So if, again, at some point we've got our own TV show, our own brand, which we were really potentially only months away from, we've got some ways to craft some new stories, and then bring them back together long enough just to make it seem like everything's okay, and then when the time was right, kind of pull a thread and watch it unravel, and they're back to battle again. I mean, that was the overarching approach to that strategy.
Yeah, it's a shame the way it went, but hey, it went the way it went, and that's the way it went, as they say.
That's what they say, indeed. They say it in Ireland with a pint of vodka, and they say it in the U.S. with a cup of coffee.